Don't move. Yeah, I mean it. Just freeze for a second and picture this. You're living in your supposedly peaceful cul-de-sac, where folks smile like they mean it, and the wildest thing that's supposed to happen is a rogue squirrel making off with a peanut butter sandwich. But for me, the madness began with something so tiny, you'd almost laugh it off, except you can't really laugh when your mail keeps disappearing, like clockwork, right from your own damn mailbox. At first, I blamed the wind, or maybe the postman with the shaky hands. But the second time it happened, I noticed these perfectly symmetrical, weirdly deep footprints running from my box right across the lawn to Karen's house. Not just any Karen. No, the Karen, queen of the cul-de-sac, HOA's unofficial enforcer, always strutting in her gaudy floral slippers like she was judging yards for a reality show. That day, I didn't confront her. That's the secret with people like Karen. They eat up your outrage like it's free samples at Costco. So I kept my cool on the outside, but every missing letter made my skin crawl until it turned into a full-blown obsession. I started tracking her routine, watch her come out every morning at exactly 7:15 to water her fake lavender and accidentally peek into my mailbox. I hid a camera in a fake birdhouse across the street. And, surprise, there she was on the footage, lifting my mail like she was collecting evidence for Judge Judy. See, in my neighborhood, the HOA rules are sacred, etched in stone tablets, almost. And Karen? She worshipped those rules more than she ever did her poor husband. She once fined a guy for painting his mailbox the wrong shade of brown, bragged about it for weeks. For her, control wasn't a hobby, it was the main event. Stealing my mail, I think, just scratched her itch for power. Now, I could have flown off the handle, but I figured I'd play the long game. I was nice, complimented her weird garden gnomes, offered her homemade honey. She sniffed it and said, "We don't usually eat unregulated produce." That line told me everything. Karen's world was rules. And me, well, I was the quiet rebel who built my own porch swing and skipped HOA meetings. That offended her. Independence? She couldn't control it, so she targeted it. A week later, my woodworking chisel from Vermont went missing. Caught her again, pink robe, my box under her arm, looking smug as a cat. I took the footage to the post office, got a half-hearted, "we'll investigate," like telling a kid the tooth fairy's real. Cops wouldn't care unless I'd lost something worth a fortune. So I changed tactics. If Karen thrived on control, I'd give her something to remember. Fear. Embarrassment. Here's where it gets good. My brother works props for the local theater, brought me a rubber snake once so real it nearly gave my dog a heart attack. I borrowed it, coiled it inside the mailbox, set up a GoPro. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about documentation. Karen loved paperwork. I'd give her own feature film. I left a decoy envelope marked HOA response poking out of the box. Right on cue, 7:16, she walks over, robe, coffee, eyes darting like she's crossing I-95. Opens the box, and, oh man, the shriek. Mug flies, robe flares, and she's running backwards, trips in her flower bed, tries to kick the snake, which just bounces at her. I swear, I deserved a standing ovation. Thought she'd disappear out of sheer embarrassment, but not Karen. That afternoon, she marched up in a blazer, hair wild, eyes blazing. Do you realize how dangerous that was? You could have caused me serious harm. I kept my voice cool. Only if you were breaking federal law by opening someone else's mail. She stammered about mailbox regulation. I handed her a flash drive with the footage, told her, "Might want to hang on to this before someone else sees it." She glared and stomped off, muttering about context. Next 2 days? Quiet. Too quiet. Gossip swirled. Someone saw her arguing with the HOA president. Others whispered she'd filed a harassment claim. Whatever. I had the upper hand. 3 nights later, my mailbox was smashed, snake gone. HOA newsletter the next morning. Remind residents to report any wildlife issues. Wildlife issues. I laughed so hard I nearly choked. She couldn't admit defeat, but she couldn't walk away. So I escalated, sent myself official-looking letters, confidential HOA legal review, made sure she saw me reading them. Nodding, fake phone calls, the works. Curiosity killed a Karen, I figured. Next, I posted anonymous flyers. Tampering with property equals immediate expulsion. Within hours, she's screaming at her husband about illegitimate governance. But this wasn't just pranks anymore. This was chess. And when Karen's cornered, she lashes out. A day later, found a note on my door, typed, HOA Enforcement Committee. Except no such thing. It accused me of staging a hazardous trap. She'd gone full bureaucratic villain, weaponizing paperwork again. The thing about people like her, they believe if they write enough words in Times New Roman, it becomes truth. I drafted my own reply. Thanks for your concern. Reminder, mailbox tampering is a federal crime. Reported to the Postal Inspection Service. Footage available. Posted a copy in her box, another on the HOA board. For a bit, she went silent. But Karen's quiet is never peace. It's scheming. For mornings later, white SUV rolls up, HOA logo, guy with clipboard. Karen trailing like a prosecutor. Mark from Community Standards Oversight, another made-up title. He starts rattling off infractions, improper edging, non-regulation mailbox decor. I asked for his credentials. He flashed a laminated library card with HOA in Sharpie. I couldn't help laughing. You gotta be kidding. Karen's face went nuclear. I threatened to call the cops. Mark bolted. Karen shouted, "This isn't over." The whole block laughed about Sheriff Karen and Deputy Clipboard. Didn't stop her, though. Next day, every mailbox had a letter warning about unapproved wildlife pranks. Her drama skills were honestly impressive. Still, I could feel the danger rising. Neighbors got cold. Whispers followed me. Karen's smear campaign in full swing, telling folks I'd planted traps to harm her, threatening lawsuits for emotional distress. That was her style, weaponized sympathy. So, I flipped the script, printed flyers for a mailbox safety initiative, offered to install cameras for security. By sunset, everyone was buzzing about mail thefts. Karen's rep cracked wide open. She stormed over, shaking a flyer. "You're spreading lies about me." I stayed calm. "Didn't mention you, Karen. If you feel guilty, that's on you." She threatened. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Oh, I did. She saw mail theft as civic duty. But later that night, caught her on camera sneaking to my box in her pajamas, dumping sticky honey, my own honey, inside. I laughed out loud, but I wasn't letting her win. Cleaned it up, installed a Bluetooth speaker to play a rattling hiss when the lid opened, baited her with another envelope. Next morning, she crept over, opened the box, and hiss. She jumped back, screamed, coffee flying. But this time, she didn't run. She turned, shaking with rage, yelling, "You think this is funny? I'm calling the HOA." I pointed to my camera. "You're on tape every time, Karen." She screamed about privacy, "Not when you're committing a crime on my property." She threatened legal action, but you could see the panic brewing behind her eyes. A few days later, got a letter from the HOA legal department demanding I remove my surveillance devices or face a $500 fine. Only, the letterhead had a typo, homeowner's assignation. Classic Karen. I framed it, didn't reply. But then, my camera's footage was wiped. SD card blank, except for one clip of a short, robe-shaped shadow near my birdhouse camera. She'd crossed from harassment to sabotage. I went straight to Robert, the actual HOA president. Guy looked ready to retire from existence. I handed him the fake legal letter, the honey story, everything. "She's been filing complaints against half the street," he groaned, but the forged letter forced his hand. That afternoon, he talked to her. Heated words, lots of wild gestures. After, she just stood there, staring at my house. Not embarrassed, calculating. 2 days went by, nothing. On the third, my mailbox flag was up. Inside, a single note, "Enjoy your privacy while you can." No signature, just that. Chilling, honestly. Later, a new sign on the HOA board. Community safety update. Unauthorized surveillance, noise disturbances. Not naming me, but might as well. She was masterful at playing victim and making everyone else look like villains. Then, escalation. Late one evening, metallic crash. Mailbox on the sidewalk, post snapped, pink nail polish on the baseball bat. I took photos, installed a new, metal, concrete bolted mailbox. This time, with a motion sprinkler and camera. Sure enough, she tried again, got drenched, screamed, ran home soaked and seething. Next morning, another fake notice pinned to my door. Deliberate water hazards violate Section 8B. I didn't reply. Instead, posted my own. Warning, tampering with federally protected mail infrastructure. Stamped it, taped it to the HOA board. By week's end, the drama was neighborhood entertainment. Kids whispered about Snake Guy. Parents peeked through curtains. Tom, Karen's husband, looked ready to join witness protection. One day, Tom stopped me. "Look," he whispered, "I know this has gone too far. Can we de-escalate?" I told him, "I tried, she keeps pushing." He looked guilty, mentioned some HOA vote thing, caught my attention. Turns out, Karen had tried, and failed, to rig a vote to become HOA president. After that rejection, she went after me even harder. It wasn't about mail anymore. It was about power, needing an enemy. I decided to end it. Went to Robert again with all the evidence. He groaned. "If we find her, she'll drag it out for months." I grinned. "Then let's expose her." He nodded, called a neighborhood meeting to discuss mail security. Karen strutted in, ready for her big moment. Robert played my footage, snake, honey, sprinklers, even her smashing my mailbox. Gasps, whispers, Karen speechless for once. She sputtered about edited footage, but Robert cut her off. "Karen, you filed a false legal notice. That's identity fraud. You vandalized property." Anything to say? She grabbed her purse, muttered about lawyers, and stormed out. For the first time in forever, mail arrived on time. The neighborhood exhaled. But just when I thought it was over, found a box on my porch. Inside, the same fake snake, a note, "Round 2. Part of me wanted to laugh, but another part realized she wasn't done. She'd regrouped, watching from the shadows. After that, strange things, a white van parked across the street all day, no logos, tinted windows. Called Robert. He said, "You know who's behind this." Karen had moved from personal attacks to hiring muscle, trying to spook me. I doubled down, more cameras, more lights, even upgraded the snake prank with a speaker and a pressure sensor sprinkler. That night, caught Tom trying to tamper with my mailbox. Next morning, slipped a photo of him into Karen's box. She saw it, froze. Later, Tom came over, confessed. "She made me. Said you were spying." I didn't know. I told him, "Stop covering for her. She'll only get worse." Then, a real HOA letter, unauthorized security installations, but Robert swore he hadn't signed it. Karen forged it again, but this time I went public. Posted everything. Fake letters, footage, mailbox vandalism, Tom's confession on the neighborhood forum. The post exploded. Neighbors piled on with their own Karen horror stories. For once, she lost the narrative. She showed up at my door, exhausted, asked if I thought I was a hero. I said, "No, Karen. I think I'm just done." She whispered, "If I lose the HOA seat, I lose everything. It's not about control. It's about order." I almost felt sorry, almost. That night, the van came back, this time with a local news crew. Karen had called the media, painted herself as the victim. The story aired, her tears, her drama, but then my footage surfaced online, showing her coaching the reporters. The internet did what it does best, turn the tables. By morning, the story was pulled, her house dark, a for sale sign waiting on the porch. Weeks went by, peace returned, but Karen left a final note, a key, and a box of evidence, proof of forged signatures, fake invoices, and even embezzlement by Robert, the HOA president. Turned out, Karen's paranoia was misdirected. I took the evidence to Robert. He tried to explain it away, threatened me, but I'd already sent copies to the county. The board forced him to resign. Neighborhood chat celebrated. Ironically, they wanted me for president after all that. I took the job, just long enough to dismantle the rules, simplify the bylaws, and finally give the neighborhood its dignity back. But peace is fragile. Karen's ghost lingered. A new family moved into her house. Too neat, too perfect. Karen wasn't gone. She was pulling strings from the shadows. And that's how it goes. In these neighborhoods, you never really beat a Karen. You just take your turn wearing the crown. Before I left for good, She left me one last note. Told you so. I put the ceramic snake back in a mailbox and walked away, finally at peace with the circus behind me. Now tell me, would you have fought back? Or just let it go? Drop your own neighbor war stories or HOA nightmares down below, because you never know which one of us is about to be the next legend of the cul-de-sac.